You see, this is why teenagers can't have nice things. Project Almanac, released in 2015, and is directed by Dean Israelite, who has also directed that Power Rangers remake a couple of years ago, which is awesome. Growing up being a huge fan of Power Rangers and seeing that movie, that remake, was a beautiful, pitch-perfect reboot of the mythos, the legends of Power Rangers. It was complete fan service to me. And this is the only other film that he directed solo, so I think he's got a pretty impressive resume. And this film stars Johnny Weston, Sophia Black-D'Elia, Sam Lerner, Alan Evangelista, Virginia Gardner, and Amy Landecker. 6 people that I have never heard of. Project Almanac tells the story of David, who is a high school student who finds plans for a time machine in his dad's basement. So together with all of his friends, they build the time machine and they just have a ruckus time together. All done, of course, from the aspect of vlogging. Because, you know, people are gonna want to know how this all happened. This, of course, was many films during the whole found footage craze. Cloverfield, Chronicle, so many different horror films. But with this one, we go down the sci-fi fantasy aspect of the found footage genre. And to be honest, I had a pretty good time with this. It examines the philosophical question of, what would you do if you controlled time? Would you travel forward and see how things end up for you? Or would you go back in time and change things? Whether it's a decision of, instead of going right down a road, you go left down a road. But when you start examining and dissecting this concept that we created known as time, your mind starts to hurt. So whenever I go into these time-traveling movies, I'm fascinated into figuring out, okay, what are the rules that this story, that this particular film, is labeling with time travel? If you travel back in time and change something, how drastic does that change the present when you go back to it? When you travel back in time, do you just automatically go back into your previous self's body? Or are there 2 of you now in that universe? And I know that there are discussions and essays and podcasts out there just discussing the concept of time travel and what should happen. But what's funny is when I read or listen to any of those, I go, you have never time traveled. How do you know the rules of time travel? Time is a made-up thing. It is not a made-up thing, Caleb, but it is a relative thing. What is my best Einstein? And I would assume it's pretty bad. But I do like the concept behind this film's time travel aspects. When they do it, they have to have the time machine, they put it in a backpack, so they're always carrying it around with them. It emits like a magnetic pulse, and gravity becomes 0 gravity when they're about to do it. Electricity, the camera that they're using to record everything, starts malfunctioning. But it's the aspect of the film that I really enjoyed. There are a few times where it really hurt my brain, because once they start traveling through time, one of the things that they wanted to go back in time and change was someone's test grade. And the dude kept messing it up, so they would keep going back and back and back to the same time. But they establish in this film that their other self, their previous self, does exist in this universe. So if they're going back in time multiple times to the exact same time, wouldn't we see like 10 or 20 different versions of themselves trying to go back in time? My brain hurts. You see what I mean about time travel concepts? This always happens to me. My mind starts overanalyzing the concept of time travel in all movies.
So now I've gone cross-eyed.
But then I remember what Basil and Austin Powers said, and Austin Powers, the spy who shagged me. I wouldn't try to worry about all of that. I would say just enjoy yourself. And that goes for you as well. And it's great advice. You're going into a movie, you're going to be entertained, just kind of sit back, turn the scientific analyzation part of your brain off. And when you do that, I think you're going to have a good time. These teenagers, or these actors pretending to be teenagers, actually did not annoy me. Johnny Weston, who plays the lead teenager who finds the time machine, it's his dad's plans for a time machine, and then he suspiciously goes missing. He's the driving force behind this film, and yeah, I was impressed with him. He played like that stereotypical, you know, nerd, geeky science dude in high school, very introverted, and I think it came off very genuine. Just the atmosphere and the relationship that all 6 of these characters have, it reminded me of high school. I remember those tables of those students pulling out their calculators and doing fun little tricks and discussions. Heck, I was a part of that sometimes. But this film is not just about discovering time travel and asking the questions, you know, what would you do with it? Some problems come awry. When they create the time machine, they're gonna start using it, they give themselves rules. And what happens when teenagers have rules in films? Of course they get broken. It's why you can't have nice things. They embrace the concept from Back to the Future where if your previous self sees your new self traveling back in time, that creates a paradox. And we can't have a paradox in the universe, so all of a sudden you get deleted. Deleted, yes! That was my best broken Matt Hardy impersonation. I think it was pretty good. Yeah. Sometimes they prevent it from happening, sometimes it just happens. And when you see that happen in the film, it's actually a very scary situation. Just all of a sudden you're meddling with something that you should not meddle with, and you suffer the consequences. And when that happens, some characters in this film try to do away with this whole time machine concept and pretend like it never happened. Other people in this film want to keep trying to solve it and keep trying to solve it, and every time that they go back and try to do it, it makes something else worse in the present time. Which that storytelling aspect kind of comes out of nowhere. We spend a good 2/3 of this film just building this time machine and exploring what it can do. And then that last third, that last act, it is kind of a miss for me because all of a sudden it's like, oh, I gotta go back in time and save them. The concept is thrilling, the execution, a little bit of a mess. But I had a really solid time with this film. Me personally, I like the found footage concept. I like watching found footage films. I don't find it annoying. I know I'm in the minority on that one. A lot of people are sick to death of this idea and this concept of found footage. Because really, who would have a camera on them at all times vlogging everything? Basically everyone in the world. Because nowadays, everyone has this little tiny device called a cell phone that has a camera on it. And a pretty damn good camera at that. So yeah, found footage, that's definitely a believable concept for me. So I don't blow off a film just because it's found footage. I am shocked that this film only has a 36% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, meaning that 36% of critics like this movie? What? I have seen way worse things than this. This does not deserve that. Don't listen to them. I encourage you, see this film. I recommend it. I'm gonna give Project Almanac 3.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I am above average.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part in my video where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next. And the next film that I'm reviewing is a recommendation from one of my subscribers. He recommended this a long time ago, and I do apologize as it's taken me so long to watch and review this film, but I'm ready now, so thank you, Young Hyun Lee. You recommended The Wailing, another Korean picture, and I honestly have no idea what this movie is about. I think I saw a trailer for this when I watched Train to Busan. It looked like a zombie or disease type film, like a town gets plagued by a disease and it kind of looked like there were zombies. I know nothing. I could be totally off on that. But it looks pretty terrifying. Am I gonna be disgusted? Am I gonna be disgusted at things? I'm gonna be disgusted at things, aren't I? Who knows? But thank you, Young Hyun Lee, for the recommendation. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, please leave your comment below this video or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter. Leave your recommendation there, and if I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout out here in the channel. And if you have an entire list of films that you want me to recommend, like someone the other day did about South Korean films that I need to watch, please feel free to do so. That was a lot of movies, sir, so it's gonna take me some time to hunt them all down, but I'm definitely interested in checking them out. Korean pictures, they've been killing it for me. So everyone, have you seen Project Almanac? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, please comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And don't forget, we are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2019. We are slowly getting there, but we're increasing in numbers nonetheless. So just remember, if we hit 1,000, I will torture myself in watching Arachnophobia for all of you and record myself watching it and probably getting shit-faced drunk while watching it. So if you like what you see here and you like people talking about movies, hit that subscribe button so I can watch some spider movies. So everyone, I will see you next time with my review of The Wailing. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.